Roll Tide and welcome to this Thursday edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. This is Roger Hoover. Great to be with you from our Tuscaloosa studios for this week's show, as we'll take a look not only at softball, but baseball and men's golf, as we're at a busy time of the year and postseason really starting with the Crimson Tide softball team. But we will go through everything coming up on the show today, thanks to our friends at RJ Young. They are the official technology solutions provider of Crimson Drive. They've given us a smart board to go through everything coming up on the show today. First things first, we'll hear from the head coach of the Crimson Tide softball team, Patrick Murphy, as it was a bit of a late night in Fayetteville, Arkansas, but the Crimson Tide got a win in its first game yesterday against Missouri in the SEC softball tournament. Now coming up later today, it will be Alabama against Arkansas. Matt Guscette will join us as well to talk some Crimson Tide baseball, as he had a very eventful week. A scary injury against LSU, followed up by a great home run against Vanderbilt. Just an amazing story coming up from Crimson Tide catcher Matt Guscette. Then we'll visit with Canon Claycomb of the Alabama men's golf team, as men's golf is gearing up for a run in the NCAA Regionals in Norman, Oklahoma, starting next Monday. So thoughts from Canon Claycomb coming up shortly as well. Looking at the headlines, starting with Crimson Tide baseball team, as Alabama went 2-1, took a series against fifth-ranked Vanderbilt this past week. It was really great to see that for Alabama. Broke out the bats to an 11-2 victory on Thursday, and then tied at 1 in the bottom of the 8th inning on Saturday. It was Guscette, who we'll visit with in a moment. He hit the go-ahead home run to pick up the victory against Vanderbilt. Then on Tuesday, despite a couple of lightning delays, able to play at the Biscuits Ballpark in Montgomery and picked up a win against Troy, 7-2, a game that featured a Drew Williamson home run. Now this weekend, the Crimson Tide and the Texas A&M Aggies, two teams that know they'll be in the SEC tournament, but still fighting for positioning, as both are 11-13 in the SEC and really in third place in the SEC West. Just a lot on the line coming up this weekend in Bryan College Station. Look forward to being there with Chris Stewart calling all of those games coming up from Bluebell Park. Coming up for the Crimson Tide softball team, this past weekend finished strong in the regular season, going 3-0 against Ole Miss. And for her great play, Larissa Pruitt was named the SEC Freshman of the Week. We also saw some end-of-the-year honors for Allie Shipman, as the catcher for the Crimson Tide was named to the Community Service Team in the SEC. Now this week, Alabama competing at the SEC Tournament, a single elimination format, and as I mentioned yesterday, delayed so much by lightning and rain in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Finally, they got to play the final game last night, and the Crimson Tide came out on top. Montana Fouts, the winning pitcher, just great offense all throughout. Now later today, and the game times are still pending due to a lot of other weather that's in the forecast for Fayetteville, so we're not exactly sure yet what time we'll see the Crimson Tide and the Arkansas Razorbacks play, but Tom Canterbury, Gray Robertson are in Fayetteville. They'll have it for us covered on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. So final notes around Crimson Tide athletics. The women's golf team wrapped up its season at the NCAA Regionals in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. Tip of the cap to head coach Mick Potter and the women's golf team on a great season. Next week, Alabama will be at the regionals coming up in men's golf. So we look forward to chatting about that with Canon Claycomb coming up, but they'll be in Norman, Oklahoma starting on Monday. Gymnastics team added another member to the staff as Ashley Johnston keeps rounding out her coaching staff. Amelia Hunley will be joining the Crimson Tide for next season. And then on both the men's and women's tennis side, great academic all-district honors for a lot of Crimson Tide players. Full details on that available on RolledTide.com. But as we start the show, we wanted to go first to Fayetteville, Arkansas, and hear from the head coach of the Crimson Tide softball team, Patrick Murphy, as his team got to the ballpark thinking they would play around 4 o'clock. Turned out to be much, much later, even well beyond 8, before they were finally able to play last night against Missouri. Here are some thoughts from the head coach of the Crimson Tide softball team, Patrick Murphy.
Well, first, I just want to say thanks to everybody at Arkansas. I know this was a tough opening day, or yesterday, and then the weather today. And I appreciate everybody still being out here. But I thought Miss Prangy was awesome tonight, 3 for 3 with 2 bombs. And then obviously Tana was as good as she's ever been. She might not say that, but it's a really good hitting Missouri team, and they had a heck of a good weekend before this. So they were hot, and we realized that. And, we respect the heck out of them. I think they're going to do a great job wherever they go in a regional, and we wish them the best of luck. I think a lot of years of doing the same thing and then preaching it over and over and over, and it's a bounce back. We've had speakers come about grit, resiliency, exactly that. We had our golf coach come this year, and he said the biggest reason for their success is to bounce back. If you make a bad shot, you bounce back and make a good one. If the other team scores, you bounce back and either score or tie it or go ahead. And I think it's just a thing in the history of our program that we've prided ourselves on from day one. Yeah, well, we had, obviously the 4 grads, and then Jenna Johnson is a senior. She graduated. I saw it on the board that, where she got her degree, which is cool. So it is a veteran team. And when you have the catcher and the pitcher, both seniors, third base, that's a lot of veteran leadership. And I think it really helps us. And you're seeing it right now in our baseball team in Alabama. They're also a very veteran group, and they're led by a bunch of really, really good older players. And these 2 are doing the same thing. Shipman, Faith, Jenna, Bailey Dowling's been here, for a while. And I think that nucleus has really helped us. We weathered the storm this year. We've lost some games where we probably shouldn't have, but it's because of these 2 and the others that we're still here. We're still fighting for a regional host, and, we want to do well here.
So good luck to Coach Murphy and the Crimson Tide resuming play later tonight against Arkansas. Hopefully it's a very long stay in Fayetteville for the SEC tournament that will last through the championship game on Sunday. Next up on the show, we'll discuss some Crimson Tide baseball, and we'll talk with the catcher for the Crimson Tide, Matt Guscette, who really grabbed a lot of headlines, probably for reasons he did not like in Baton Rouge in the final game against LSU, but certainly grabbed the headlines in a great way with what he did against Vanderbilt this past weekend in Tuscaloosa. So ahead of Alabama making the trip to College Station to take on the Aggies, it was Matt Guscette who carved out some time for us on the golf course to visit about his season. Mac, roll tide. How's your season going so far?
I mean, yeah, it's been great. I mean, the change from changing schools this year, I mean, it's been awesome. These guys, they've opened me up with anything I could imagine. And I mean, just playing wise, everyone's been playing their best. I mean, we've had a few injuries throughout the year, but everyone's picked each other up and we're all with each other. So it's been a great year.
Let's go back to that decision, because you again played at the University of Florida, you transferred to Alabama. What made the Crimson Tide stand out in that process?
So, yeah, I mean, obviously I played here last year. We had a 3-game series in Tuscaloosa, and I mean, the field's unreal. I mean, it's beautiful. Nothing can really match it. And I mean, the fans, I mean, lately, especially the fans have helped us a lot with winning games, getting different, what's it called? I'm losing words, but the fans have helped us so much. And I mean, I just knew these guys were a great group of guys, and they work really hard, and that's what I wanted to be a part of. So that's why I came over, and it's been awesome.
Sure, you had a great fall and great January getting to know your teammates and getting used to be part of this team. But you mentioned the fans. They got to see it for the first time on opening day. You get that big home run, drive in all those runs. I'm sure from opening day on, it's been a just totally new feeling for you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's been a lot more comfortable. I mean, opening day, I knew I didn't have to prove myself, but obviously transferring, fans, everyone doesn't really know me. So it was great to get that out of the way. And I mean, it's just been awesome. I can't even explain how great it's been since I've been here.
Well, let's go back to Baton Rouge, where the Crimson Tide, of course, fell in that series to LSU, but everyone was concerned about you on Sunday. A wild pitch hits the dirt and then ricochets off you. Just take it from there. What happened on that pitch that eventually sent you to the hospital?
Yeah, so I mean, I just blocked the ball like I usually did, and it ended up hitting me right on the carotid artery right here on the side of the neck. And there's a little sensor right there that I actually kind of just lagged out, I guess you could say. I don't know the exact medical term, but I didn't get enough blood flow to my head, and I kind of just collapsed. And I got up. I was feeling a lot better, started walking, started getting dizzy again. So that's when they started carrying me off. Got into the LSU training room. I mean, they were unreal. They helped with everything. They were always there for me. Can't say enough about them. And even our staff was awesome. And yeah, paramedics were there. I got all my vitals taken, started feeling a lot better, was perfectly fine after that. And we just went to the hospital to make sure everything was good before the drive back. But yeah, it was definitely a moment that I hope happens to nobody. And definitely I learned a lot from it.
Yeah, it really was a scary moment, especially for everybody that was there at the game. What can you tell us about what it meant to you to have that support from the LSU fans and even the LSU players when you were carried through their dugout on the way to the training room?
Yeah, I mean, it was just awesome. Obviously Alabama, LSU, there's a little bit of a rivalry there, but putting all that aside, I mean, safety of everyone's number one. And the fans were awesome. They were behind me the whole way, and I know I had a lot of social media going out about me and everything. And I can't say thank you enough to everyone, LSU staff, athletics, Our Lady of the Lakes Hospital, and all the fans that were there. I just want to say thank you. And I'm doing great, and I'm just ready to ride now.
Yeah, once you got back to Tuscaloosa, kind of what did you need to show the training staff during the week to show that you'd be available to play against Vanderbilt?
Yeah, I mean, there was no necessarily like injury that I had. It's just more of the fact of me being scared to block and being hit in the neck area. So once I showed that I could do that, and all the pitching staff saw me started block some balls, it was kind of good that I was ready to go.
Well, you were ready to go against Vanderbilt at the plate and behind the plate for the Crimson Tide over this past weekend. And then with the game on the line, tied at one, bottom of the eighth inning on Saturday, you hit the go ahead home run. What'd you see on that pitch, and what kind of reaction did you get from your teammates when you hit it out?
Yeah, so I mean, everyone's been messing with everyone. I mean, we're a close group of guys, and coming up to that bat rate, it came up to me and just said, "Be you, like, don't try to do too much," because that's what I've been doing of recently, and kind of took that to heart. And I knew after first pitch fastball that I fouled off a slider or something off speed was coming. I saw it up, and I just tried to put a good swing on it. And I knew as soon as I hit it, I just was ready to get in that dugout and celebrate with all the boys. And I mean, obviously the Dinger helmet's awesome to put on.
Yeah, it was really cool to see. And you have a unique perspective getting to catch all these Crimson Tide pitchers. Just what are you seeing right now from the starting rotation and the bullpen? Is everyone starting to figure out their role at this time of the year?
Oh yeah, I think everyone knows what their job is, and whether it's a Friday night or a Tuesday game, everyone goes out there and pitches with the same mentality as if we're playing, let's just say LSU, the number one team in the nation on Friday night. I mean, everyone's been doing great, hitting their spots. Like there's just the mentality of our teams kind of took a change. Just we're all here for each other, and we're all trying to get better for each other, because obviously a bunch of guys came back to try to make a run. And I think that everyone's just kind of buying into that and just staying with each other and helping each other out whenever we can.
How fired up is this team for what's coming up this weekend against Texas A&M, and then you get to finish up at home against Ole Miss before we head to Hoover?
Oh, it's we're excited. We're excited for every game, no matter whether it's practice or we're playing a game. I mean, we're just ready to go and ready to show the world who we are and how confident we are with ourselves.
Well, Matt Guscette, a great home run against Vanderbilt. We're just happy you're healthy after the scary incident at LSU. Just thank you so much for your time today, and best of luck on the golf course the rest of the way. Roll Tide.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, speaking of golf with Matt Guscette, let's head to the men's golf team now for the University of Alabama. Canon Claycomb, who of course has been hitting the links and has had a great Crimson Tide career over the past few years. The Kentucky native was able to join us earlier in the week as he discussed his preparations gearing up for the NCAA regionals that will start for the Crimson Tide this upcoming Monday. But we talk about everything that's gone on this past year as the men's golf team has really taken a great step forward here in 2023. Here's our conversation with one of our favorites on the show, Canon Claycomb. Canon, roll tide. How's everything going as you get ready for, I know, what's one of the most exciting parts of the year, NCAA competition?
Yeah, roll tide. Everything's going good. We're working hard this week so far, getting some really good preparation in for like you said, we're going to Norman. So a bunch of us have never been there before. I don't even think Sewell's been there before. So we're going in a little blind, but we've heard some things. There's been some events there that we've been able to draw upon statistics wise. And yeah, I think we're in a good frame of mind and getting some good work in. So I'm excited.
We talked to you over the summer as you were playing into some individual events, but you mentioned how you wanted Alabama golf to get back to the standard we're used to in Tuscaloosa. Just how'd you guys go about it, starting with the fall and then leading into this year?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing was talent. We brought in two freshmen that were really good, Jonathan Grizz and Nick Dunlap. And then we paired that with, the returners of myself, Thomas Ponder, JP Cave, and Jones Free. Um, and I think we just there was a different energy when we got here this fall as opposed to last year. With those two guys that I said being super high ranked junior golfers, they were used to winning. They didn't think fifth or fourth was good enough, and that was a good kind of like momentum, I guess, to have from the younger guys coming in ready to play. And then obviously we had already been through, not a great season, so we didn't want to do that again. And I think we just kind of paired well. Like when we talked last summer, I said the golf team is my best friends in the world. Like we get along great. It was the same this year. There was just an intensity that we didn't have the year before. And I think that comes from just talent and the guys kind of knowing that, we're good enough to compete. So we didn't have to go out there and when we played good, act like it was an accident. This year, when we played good, it was, yeah, this is what we do and this is who we are. And I think we're still feeling that way going into the postseason right now.
And how much of a statement made was it back in the fall winning the Rod Myers Invitational? You became the medalist. What led to the great golf that week?
Yeah, I think same thing. Like we just kind of went into the tournament prepared to win. There was not like a we were showing up to win the golf tournament, which we didn't do the year before. Like I mean, that was my first team win since being at Alabama. So like even for me, that was a new feeling. I had won individually, but not as a team, and yeah, it was great. Start the year off. We have the 500 rule in golf. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, but we have to be above 500 to be eligible for postseason. That's why we didn't make postseason last year. We were ranked high enough, just weren't above 500. So to get 14 wins and zero losses in the first event of the year was a huge momentum boost. It was all right, we don't have to worry about being above 500 for, like maybe the entire season now. We can just go play golf. And we did a really good job of that. We won Rod Myers, played well in the fall, had a lot of momentum. And then same thing with like the two different teams this year. I mean, like over Christmas break, everyone was playing golf. Like it wasn't a time to take a vacation. We all went home, had a great time Christmas break, but we played golf and I saw some guys at tournaments over Christmas break and then we came back in January and it was like nothing had changed. So really proud of those guys for, the work they put in over the past 8 months and it's about to pay off in my mind.
Got milkshakes for that victory. You got milkshakes again for the Linger Longer Invitational in March, of course, right before the SEC championships. A little bit after that, was it good to have another team win and have more good momentum going into the final half of your spring schedule?
Yeah, absolutely. Linger Longer is a different field. I mean, the Rob Myers was a great win, but not throwing shade at any of the teams that were there. It wasn't the caliber of teams we usually play against at Alabama. Duke was there. Obviously, it was their event, but other than them in North Florida, it wasn't a huge grind. But Linger Longer, I mean, we beat Vanderbilt. Tennessee was there. Georgia was there. Some really good like mid-major teams that are going to be in the postseason as well. So yeah, it was a huge confidence boost going into SECs. I mean, if you beat the number one team in the country on a neutral site, like that just proved to me that we were good enough to hang with whoever came our way. And we got another recap of that in SECs and match play. We had to play Vanderbilt, and I don't know. Some people we were talking about like at SEC, somebody came up to me and they were like, "I'm sorry you drew Vanderbilt in the first round," and I was like, "I don't know why you're sorry. Like, this is who we wanted. Like, this is who our team is. We want to play Vanderbilt and we want to play Arizona State and we want to play Texas. So, I think we are a little young and naive in that way, and maybe a little stupid, but I think it works in our advantage. And I really do think there's no one on the team that is scared to compete or show up when it's their time. And yeah, I'm really, really happy with how we've all performed.
And that had to be the same for you at SECs, going up against Vanderbilt, like you mentioned, going up against Gordon Sargent, who's from Mountain Brook. A lot of people in the state know who he is. He played in the Masters earlier this year as well, and you went toe to toe with him for a long time. How'd you feel that day?
Yeah, it was awesome. Like I said, like I mean, I was very excited to play Vanderbilt and play Gordon. I have nothing but respect for Gordon. I'm actually one of his biggest fans. Him getting this much recognition only grows the sport for like myself and other people in this arena. So I loved watching him play at the Masters. We talked about it during the SEC championship. And Gordon was someone that I've known for a while. I knew him growing up, like playing junior golf. He was highly ranked too, so I saw him a bunch. And yeah, I went out there and I expected to win when I teed off. I wasn't scared of Gordon, and we had a great match. I think I shot 7 under, he shot 8 under, and I had a bogey and he didn't, and that was the difference. So, yeah, it was a great round. I was able to draw a lot of confidence from that. And I think our team was, very disappointed, but we left feeling like we had given them all they wanted to have. And I think we're going to see him again here in a couple of weeks, and I can't wait for it.
That'll be really exciting. So you mentioned you are getting ready after the SECs are done. Now you're starting to focus on the regional. What's the preparation? What's the training like the rest of this week, gearing up for next week?
Yeah, it's weird not having school, first of all. The days feel a lot longer. Today I was bored for like 3 hours, so that was different. But yeah, we play a lot. So we played today, we played tomorrow, and then we're practicing on Monday, which was yesterday, and then Thursday, and then we leave on Friday. So a little bit of, like off days where it's just practice, kind of do whatever we want, and then 2 days of playing and, seeing what we can shoot and posting a score and a lot of just like rest, recovery. We're trying not to go too hard. I really think we're going to try and peak at the right time, which is what everybody says, but I think we're doing a pretty good job of it right now. And yeah, that's kind of the game plan till Friday.
No, you enjoy being a student athlete at Alabama, and you're involved in the SAAC. I got to see you at the Crimson Choice Awards presenting a couple of weeks ago. Just how much do you enjoy that leadership aspect, getting to interact with everybody on campus as well as Alabama fans?
Yeah, it's been awesome. SAC has been a great place for me. I was telling some of the people in the group, we're a little different. We travel a little longer than other teams, so I didn't get to be as involved in the meetings as I wanted to. Our SAC representatives, if you're listening, I do apologize for that. But yeah, I got to meet really cool people. Like, I mean, just SAC is amazing because you're around all these athletes that I personally look up to. I mean, I'm thinking like Maddie Wallagoria, like a bunch of the gymnasts on the gymnast team. There's a bunch of soccer players that I got to meet, a couple football players. Like it's people that I look up to and think they're amazing athletes, and I pay money to go watch them compete. And then I get to sit down at a table and discuss like how we can make UA better for student athletes and what we should be doing as a community. And it's a really cool thing to be a part of. This was my second year doing it. I hope to do it again next year, be a little more involved next year. But yeah, I mean, and then Tuscaloosa as a whole, like the community is amazing. UA has been awesome to me. That's why I'm coming back for a fifth year. But the first 2 years, like I wasn't able to have that leadership role. We had older guys and guys that taught me a lot and helped me get to, be in the leadership position that I'm in right now. And it's a position that I want to be in. I feel like I'm a good leader. I feel like I've been around enough to kind of know what's going on and give guidance to guys who need it and support to guys who need it. So yeah, I'm really happy to be in the role that I'm in right now, and can't thank UA enough, and my people at SAC, thank you too.
There you go. Well, you mentioned you're coming back, coming up this upcoming year for your fifth year. And we hope for a long run in regionals and the NCAA championships after that. But what about for you individually in the summer? What do you have planned?
Yeah, kind of same thing as last year. Playing a lot. In June, I have 3 weeks in a row. I'll go to Pittsburgh, Rhode Island, and then Pinehurst, North Carolina. So that's a fun stretch. And then I'll take off about a week for July 4th. And then I'll get right back into it. I'm playing the Kentucky Open this year, which is something I'm really excited about. Going back home and getting able to compete in my, Open State Golf Championship. So I'm really excited about that tournament. That's the one that's marked on the calendar. And then I'm playing the Western Am in Chicago and hopefully the US Am. I think it's in Denver this year at Cherry Hills. So big summer schedule for myself, and everybody else on the team, like I said before, is playing a packed summer schedule, and we're just gonna try and come back in the fall just like we never left, or hopefully even better than when we left. So I'm excited. Yeah, it's gonna be good.
I look forward to seeing the progress. Well, Canon, best of luck coming up in Norman, Oklahoma next week at the NCAA Regionals. And thank you so much for everything you do for Alabama golf. Roll Tide.
Yeah, thank you. Roll Tide.
Fun conversation with Canon Claycomb. We wish him and the Crimson Tide all the best coming up at the NCAA Regionals. It's time to take a look at what's coming up on the Crimson Tide Sports Network this weekend. And our weekend update is always brought to you by Wickles Pickles. They are wickedly delicious. We have the pickles chips with us now. We always enjoy the okra and the relish as well. You can find out more at wicklespickles.com. Let's see what broadcasts are coming up here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Well, later today, it will be the Alabama softball team back in action, as we will have you covered for each game the Crimson Tide remain in the SEC tournament. It is single elimination. It is just one game a day unless things get crazy with the weather schedule. So just check back to our social media pages for the latest, as Tom Canterbury, Gray Robertson will have all of our broadcasts covered from Fayetteville for the SEC tournament. Starting tomorrow, the Crimson Tide baseball team will be in Texas A&M to take on the Aggies, and the first game comes your way on Friday at 6 p.m., then on Saturday at 2 p.m., and then back up an hour on Sunday at 3 p.m. for the finale of that series, as both Alabama and Texas A&M vie for positioning in the SEC West race, both at 11 and 13 coming into this weekend, and we'll have all the broadcasts covered for you from Bluebell Park coming up this weekend. That's a look at our Wickles Weekend Update, brought to you by Wickles Pickles. That wraps up this edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. We certainly want to say a huge thank you to Matt Guscette for joining us, as well as Canon Claycomb, and best of luck to head coach Patrick Murphy and the Crimson Tide softball team coming up this weekend in Fayetteville for the SEC tournament. Thanks as well to our video producer Ethan Carabin putting the show together, and thanks to all of you for watching. This has been Roger Hoover from Tuscaloosa saying thank you for watching again this edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Have a great weekend and roll Tide.